is Sight for Dutch.
Hello and welcome back to your Pennsylvania Dutch Minute. Doug here. A year ago or so, I did a video that talked about the New Year's traditions of the Pennsylvania Dutch, and I'll link that underneath here so you can check that video out. But I want to speak about one particular thing that the Pennsylvania Dutch do at New Year's, an old tradition that is still done in rural parts of Pennsylvania Dutch country, and that is shooting in the new year. I just received a really great short article that was put together by the Berks County History Center, and I'm going to read a little excerpt of what they wrote about shooting in the new year, and give you a little bit of background about that tradition. So, according to this article, on New Year's Eve, neighbors of Pennsylvania German descent would gather at the home of the New Year's wisher, who had memorized a Pennsylvania Dutch dialect New Year's chant and was ready to call on all his farm neighbors. Now, I've talked about the New Year's wishing tradition before. This shooting in the New Year's would often accompany the person that was going to do the New Year's wish. So they would all gather together and then head out into the neighborhood. The highlight of this traditional blessing was when the chanter reached the final verse and asked the homeowner if there was any reason why they should not shoot in the new year for his household. If the owner gave permission, the group of well-wishers shot off their shotguns in the midnight air, breaking the silence of the countryside at each home. After the initial surprise of disturbing the farm animals, the well-wishers were invited into the home to partake of drinks and light refreshments, continuing the Christmas hospitality that is typical of the Pennsylvania Dutch. Local revelers traveling from farm to farm in rural Berks County, shooting in the new year during the solitude of midnight, were not as dangerous as occasional city dwellers shooting in the new year in a populated urban center. The obvious dangers of this practice have caused municipalities to outlaw the folk custom. New Year's wishing and shooting shotguns survived until the mid-20th century among Berks Countians. Pennsylvania Dutch dialect chanters who recited the New Year's wish did it from memory, handing the chant down generation after generation. This came from an excerpt from the New Year's Chanting and Butchering in Berks County, which was written by Richard Shaner, Volume 73, Issue 1 of the Historical Review of Berks County, so you can check that out. Here's an image that they included. This is dated from 1914, the Rymorts Club commemorating New Year's with the group photo here. Perhaps they were shooting in the new year for good luck. This tradition does still exist. It says, it kind of faded out. Well, it faded out in the amount of people that are doing it, but I do know people that still shoot in the new year. Sadly, the number of people going door to door and giving them New Year's chant and the wish, there are very, very few people that do that anymore. Nowadays, what's happening, at least in Berks County, is that there are a couple musicians that do the chant, and they'll usually do it at a church where people can come and hear it instead of going door to door. However, I do know that there are some musicians that do this that will take requests and will actually travel to your house, give the traditional blessing, play their instruments afterwards, and here's where normally it would have been then, these guys shooting into the air. But I do know that there are people in rural Berks County that still at midnight on New Year's will go out and shoot their guns up into the air. Think back to the turn of the century when these guys were all going, the first couple of homes it was probably pretty good, but by the got to the third or fourth house, after partaking in a few libations along the way, I'm sure it made for a exciting evening, I guess we'll say that. Does your family still shoot in the new year? If so, leave a comment down below. Let us know about your how you've experienced this in the past. If you still do it, that's great. Let us know. If you don't do it anymore, that's okay too. But the tradition does live on in some parts of Berks County, and I'm sure in other counties in Pennsylvania Dutch country as well. So, as this is right before the new year, I wish all of you a very happy new year, 2020. I hope it brings you good health, good luck, and prosperity. And God willing, we'll all see each other through this next year, and I'll keep bringing those Pennsylvania Dutch videos to you to teach you about our language, our culture, our history, and our shared commonalities. Until 2020, Max gut.
Macht's gut.